The door was forcefully flung open, and Rosa flew in with Maria. It was already a full-blown typhoon outside, and it was starting to pour down hard. Though she had at least been using an umbrella, Maria had been in the rose garden amid all that wind and rain the whole time. She had grown ice cold. Maria had gone into a minor fight with Rosa in the rose garden and had been told to stay there forever. For Ava, she'd done as she was told and continued to remain in that spot even after the rain started. Rosa certainly had gotten a little emotional angry, but Maria's stubborn demands were probably more at fault. The cousins who had unfortunate... Huh?
So there are events that always happen.
I believe so, yeah.
They don't always happen the same way, or at least we see them from a different perspective.
Yes, is what I'm guessing.
Rosa always will look for the rose in the rose garden.
Rosa or Maria?
See it, Maria.
Yes.
But we don't always see it in the same way in every episode.
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
I believe so. The cousins who had unfortunately been witness to that exchange were relieved to see that the mother and child close to each other again. Rosa toweled Maria's head dry. She seemed overcome with worry that Maria might catch a cold, but Maria herself was nonchalant.
大丈夫？寒気とかしない？やっぱり一度戻って着替えさせた方がいいかしら。
全然平気。それよりお腹空いたから着替えよりご飯がいい。
大丈夫そうだぜ、ローザおばさん。
Ah, some nice calming music for once.
こんだけ元気ならきっと大丈夫だよ。
傘があって本当に良かったよ。ひょっとしたらずぶ濡れかもしれないと思ってたからね。傘を持ってたのは不幸中の幸いだったよ。
でもよマリア、いくら傘があってもこんな大雨になったらちゃんと雨宿りしなきゃダメ。女の子は体を冷やしちゃ絶対にいけない。
いいのよジェシカちゃん。ママがそこにずっといなさいと言ったのが悪いの。本当にごめんね。
マリアいい子。ママの言う通りにしてたからいい子。寒くてもずっといた。ママが来るまでずっといた。
マリアは本当にいい子よ。ママの言いつけをちゃんと守ったわね。本当に偉いわ。でも次からはママの言いつけであってもあんな大雨になったらちゃんと雨宿りをするのよ。いいわね。ママと約束よ。
ママと約束。
Star. Ooh, Star. As Rosa gently held Maria, they joined their pinkies together and promised. Battler and the others could tell that, by this, the bonding between mother and the child, expressed through a single little finger, the warmth was starting to return to Maria's body.
カノン君、タオルをありがとう。助かったわ。
それでは失礼いたします。
Canon bowed with a blank expression as though he had done nothing that required gratitude and then left the parlor.
さあ、もうお夕飯よ。みんなも行きましょう。偉いマリアには後でママの分のデザートも分けてあげるわ。
本当ママ。デザママ大好き。ママ大好き。
こらマリア、はしゃがないの。ママもマリアが大好きよ。マリア大好き。マリア大好き。マリアもママ大好き。ママ大好き。
What is going on?
Oh, this is making me really uncomfortable.
Rosa and Maria looked really happy together. What the fuck? Even the cousins started watching.
You mean none of the cousins are like, this is weird as hell?
What
the fuck?
Why is she
う
joining?
ちはそうでもなか
Why
っ
is
た
she
ぜ。
joining in?
母さんとかいっつも勉強勉強とうるさかったな。
子供を愛していればこそだよ。親の愛は優しさや甘やかしだけじゃないんだよ。
This chapter is gonna all be about a parent's love, probably. I bet that's gonna be an underlying theme.
僕の母さんも厳しかったけど、
They're not very subtle about it.
僕を大事に思ってくれたからこそだって今ならわかるよ。
ママ大好き。
マリア大好き。マリア大好き。
This is so weird.
さあ食事に行きましょ
I don't like this at
う。お
all.
手手つないで仲良くね。
What?
Okay, alright. No.
お手手つないで仲良
Something is wrong.
ママとマリア仲良し仲良し
What the fuck is going on?
そうよ。ママとマリアは仲良しよ。いつまでもずーっとね。愛してるわ。マリア。
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
The sudden sound had come from the teacup Gretel had been holding, which had fallen and smashed. Angie's just standing there like, what the fuck?
She's like, this isn't
ご
right.
めんなさい。ぼんやりしてたわ。落としちゃってごめんなさい。
The cup on the floor was broken into tiny pieces. Would it really have made such a sound and smashed into so many pieces just by being dropped from that height? Even someone as obtuse as Battler could realize that she was in a bad mood over something, but he couldn't understand why she had suddenly grown so displeased. When she made to bend over and pick up the pieces of the cup, Runaway appeared out of nowhere and stopped her.
お怪我をなさいますよ。お片付けは私どもにお任せ。紅茶のおかわりをおも。
いらないわ。どうも悪魔の紅茶は口に合わないみたい。
That scene was terrible.
ロノウェの紅茶でも口に合わぬものがおったとは。そなたの肥えた舌には敬意を表するぞ。
退屈してきたんで、ちょっと席を外すわ。
退屈？おいおい、いよいよこれからだろうが。多分この時点でマリアはまた傘と手紙をベアトリーチェから受け取ってるって言い出すんだぜ。ここからが重要だってのに。
失礼するわ。ごめんなさいね。後片付けをお願い。
お任せを。
Without saying anything else, Gretel disappeared of her own accord. Her form literally melted and disappeared into thin air. There had definitely been a displeased expression on her face, but neither Battler nor Runaway nor of course Beto either could understand why her mood had suddenly so worsened. All that remained was the fragrance of the black tea she had spilled. Is somebody contaminating the game board? Is it like none of them realized what was wrong with that scene except for Angie? She's like,
Yeah.
wait, something's wrong about this.
Shouldn't Battler have known that that's not right?
Maybe Lambda Delta is fucking with the game or something.
The impression I got was that there was some sort of witch or whatever intervention. Because, I mean, Angie knows Maria, I think, better than anyone
Yes.
here. Because
Yes.
she read her diary.
Yep. And she
And has,
knows
like,
that this is
talked to
fucking
her.
weird as shit.
Yeah.
So, I
Interesting.
don't know. That's what I'm thinking. Oh, what? It felt very unpleasant. No, to be even more blunt, it made my skin crawl.
おなんでエンジはイラついてるの
Oh, she can talk to her?
なんでって決まってるでしょ。
マリアにはわからないよ
Even Mario and One-chan with that blank expression on her face irritated me. I held my hands palms up in the empty air, and from out of nowhere, a single book landed upon them with a thump. It was Mario One-chan's diary. Even though there was no wind, the pages flipped and flipped without me having to turn them, and opened the door to Mario One-chan's world.
どうしてエンジはマリアが幸せじゃないと思うの
客観的に判断してよ。
客観的にエンジの主観でだね
真実は私にとってのものとマリアお姉ちゃんにとってのものとでは異なる。
真実は観測者によって形を変えるよそして未来の観測者が常にその形状を上書きするエンジはマリアの幸せをどうしたいの
The pages of the diary were flipped through at greater and greater speeds. Then a brilliant light poured out from the depths of the diary, swallowing everything up and painting over it with all weight. And we are...
Back in the past?
ごめんねマリアママね緊急に片付けなきゃならない仕事が山積みでちょっと会社に缶詰にならなきゃならないの
Child neglect.
多分あさっての深夜まで家に帰れないわ。
Until late at night the day after tomorrow?
Oh, what the?
おー、
So
じゃあ
2 days?
日曜日の一緒に映画を見に行く約束は？
映画？
Judging by Rose's tone, she had clearly forgotten that promise, but Mario's response to that was an apology for asking. I'm sorry. Mario apologized for troubling her mother by asking that question.
マリア、お留守番してる。ちゃんとお行儀よく待ってる。毎日お風呂に入って新しい肌着にするよ。お金の場所も分かってる。毎日違うお店に行くように、あんまり遅い時間に出かけないようにする。おまわりさんに聞かれたらママのお使いですって言うように、ちゃんとママに言われた通りに言うようにする。
そうね。ちゃんといい子にしてるのよ。そしたらお土産を買ってきてあげるわ。いい？夜は9時までに寝るのよ。ママが帰ってこないなんて先生にも大人にも言っちゃダメよ。いいわね。
うん。だからママ、お仕事頑張ってね。頑張ってお仕事を終わらせて少しでも早く帰ってきてね。マリア、もう夜中に泣いて近所の人に迷惑なんかかけたりしないから。だから早く帰ってきてね。
With everything she says, this is getting more and more depressing.
Yeah.
じゃ、忙しいのでいい子にして待ってるのよ。余計なことはしちゃダメよ。じゃあね。
Click. Using a tone that indicated she was wrapping up the call, Rosa hung up the phone without waiting for Maria's answer. Maria neatly set down the receiver and returned to the sofa. There sat the stuffed animal Sakataro, who had been watching TV with her until a second ago. Sakataro was clutching the remote control to the TV. She had turned off the TV temporarily because of the phone call. He looked like he was asking her to turn the power again, because he wanted to quickly get back to watching TV.
サク太郎、テレビ見たい？
ありゃ？マリアはもう見たくないの？芸人チーム全問正解したら逆転かもしれない。うりゃ！
うん。もうテレビいいや。
Again, Mama's busy with her work and isn't coming home. Mama usually has a lot of overtime and doesn't come home until late. She has to socialize or something for work, so she comes home having drunk a lot of alcohol even though she can't handle it. And with a pale face she goes straight into the shower and then to bed. And even on the weekends she always says she has overtime or has to stay over and almost never comes home.
So she doesn't really have overtime, right? Is that
What do you mean?
Is she just going out and getting drunk and being neglectful, or is she actually staying at work late?
I don't know, she
Or
might...
is it both? Maybe it's both.
We can assume it's both, but it might just be work. But knowing Rosa, it's probably not just work. One thing I wanted to see was we have a whole Angie side thing.
Oh yeah.
That was added. Did you want to read through these now, or just go back?
Let's go back.
Gotcha. This has been happening often recently, saying she has a big job lined up or something. The picture I did my best on during art class got laughed at by everyone, but I wanted Mama to look at it properly at least, but once again, I won't be able to show her. And talk about the time when everyone pushed the cleanup on me, but I did my best myself, and got praised by the teacher. And talk about when I went shopping and the man at the shop said he's always impressed by me and gave me my free can of coffee. And there's the card I wrote and secretly hid under Mama's pillow, because I wanted to encourage her when she comes home from working so hard.
他にもいっぱいお話ししたかった。
ママはお仕事をいっぱい頑張ってくれてるんだよ。毎日のご飯のために一生懸命働いてくれてるんだよ。
お仕事、ママ、お仕事なんかやめちゃえ。
お仕事は大人の大切な仕事なんだよ。マリアにご飯を食べさ、お洋服を買って、学校の給食費を払って、サマーキャンプの積立金を払って、それはみんなママが働いてお金を稼いでくれるからなんだよ。
ご飯いらない、お洋服もいらない、給食もいらないし、サマーキャンプなんか行きたくない。どうせマリア男の班も混ぜてくれないもん。ウリュウ、ママはさっき電話でお仕事から帰ってきたらお土産を買ってきてくれるって約束してくれ。ママはマリアのことが大事で寂しくさせてることを申し訳ないと思ってるから、そういう約束をしてくれたんだと思うよ。そうかな。ウリュウ、めんどくさかったり嫌だったりしたらそんなことはしないもん。
To get her to shut up, she would.
ママだってマリアのそばにいつだっていたいんだよ。それができなくてママも辛くて悲しい。
I don't believe a word this stuffed animal is saying.
ママが泣きながらずっとマリアの隣にいて夜を過ごしてくれた日を、なんでママが泣いてるのかわからなかったけど、悲しむママが悲しくてただマリアは黙ってママのそばにいることしかできなかった。あの時最後にママが言ったの僕は覚えてるよ。マリアにありがとうって言った。ただそばにいてくれるだけでマリアだけが世界でただ一人の味方なんだよって。ウリュウ、覚えてる？マリアが世界でただ一人の味方なんだよってママ言った。
Sakataro set the remote on the table, crawled up onto the sofa, sat on my lap, and spoke to me while gazing into my eyes.
ママもきっとマリアと同じなんだよ。ママの描いたデザインだけがクライアントに笑われて、ママの会社だけが他の会社から面倒な仕事を押し付けられて、ママは社長だから自分一人で片付けなくちゃならなくて、ママの会社だけがいつも他の会社の仕事に混ぜてもらえない。ママの味方はマリアだけなんだよ。そのマリアがママにお仕事なんかやめちゃえなんて言ったら、ママの味方は世界中のどこにいるの？サク太郎、僕には世界中でただ一人マリアがいる。ママには世界中でただ一人マリアがいる。マリアにはママもいるしサク太郎もいる。だからマリアは寂しくなんかない。ウリュウ、ママはお仕事が忙しいからなかなかマリアと一緒にいられないけど、マリアはその代わり僕はいつも一緒に、そしていつまでも一緒にマリアのそばにいるから。だからウリュウ、僕が一緒じゃ悲しみを止められない？サク太郎
From the holes in Maria's heart, which she had been doing her best to seal up, drops of sadness finally dripped down. Drip, drip, plop, plop. Sniff, sniff, drip, drip, plop, plop. Even though weekends where Mama doesn't come home aren't that rare a thing, even though this night wasn't especially more painful or sad than any other, Maria's tears poured down.
ウリュウ、マリア泣かないで。僕がずっと一緒にいるから。マリアが泣いても僕は泣かない。僕はライオンの子だから寂しくても泣かないよ。僕だって泣きたいけど僕は泣かないんだもん。どうしてサク太郎はなんかこんなに寂しくて涙がこらえられなくても泣かないの？ウリュウ、だって僕が泣いたら誰がマリアを慰めるの？だから僕は泣かないよ。だってマリアに元気を出してもらいたいから。元気を出したらママは帰ってくるの？ママが帰ってきた時、元気なマリアで迎えてあげたらママはきっと喜ぶと思うな。ウリュウ、ママは喜ぶ？ウリュウ、そしたらきっとお仕事の疲れもきっと癒されると思うよ。そしたらきっといつもより早く元気になってくれてマリアともいっぱい遊んでくれると思うな。マリアが
ママの待ってるお家へ帰ってきた時、ママが上機嫌で台所にいたらすごく幸せな気持ちになるでしょ。ママもきっと同じだよ。
マリアがご機嫌でお留守番してたらママも幸せになるかな。
うりゃ
Suktara nodded deeply with his big head. No more tears could fall from Maria's eyes, because if she greeted her mama with a tear-stained face, her mama would probably get sad too.
マリアは知ってるよ。笑顔を呼ぶ魔法は自分も笑わなきゃできないってこと。
マリアは知ってるよ。だからもう泣かない。
ねえマリア、僕から楽しく過ごす提案があるよ。ウリュ、聞いてくれる？
何？
ママが日曜日の深夜まで帰ってこないから。
So let's trash the place.
Let's throw a
だ
party.
からママに内緒のパジャマパーティーをして遊ぼうよ。
Oh, I guess we are trashing the place.
Apparently.
パジャマパー。今夜は眠くなるまでベッドの中でお菓子を食べたりジュースを飲んだりしながら僕と遊ぶの。
パジャマパー。楽しそう。9時に寝なくていいの？寝ないとママに怒られない？
ママがいない時だけの僕とマリアの秘密だから、今夜はマリアが眠くなるまでずっと僕たちで楽しく過ごそう。ジェリービーンズを食べながら次は何の色を引くか当てっこして遊ぼう。ピーナッツを割ってどっちがおじいさんか当てて遊ぼう。クローゼットの中宝探ししよう。
Wait, what does that mean?
When peanuts that have been removed from the shells are cracked in half, one half has a nub in the end, which small leaves protruding from it. In Japan, young children are sometimes told that the half with this nub is the grandpa because it leaves look like a mustache. The other half obviously would be the grandma.
Interesting.
他にもオレンジジュースとメロンジュースを合わせたらどんな味になるかな。
おお、いっぺんやってみたかったけどママにやっていいって聞いたらダメって怒られる。
うりゅう、ママに内緒で実験してみよう。今夜はいっぱい遊んでいっぱい笑って涙を元気で吹き飛ばしちゃおう。大丈夫、僕と一緒だから絶対に楽しいよ。僕が絶対にマリアを幸せにしてあげるから。
サクタロと一緒なら絶対に楽しいよ。絶対に幸せになれるよ。ありがとうサクタロ。もう泣かないね。とびきり楽しく2人で過ごして思いっきり元気になってママをおかえりなさいって
うりゅう、今夜はいっぱい遊んでいっぱいご機嫌になっちゃおう。ママがいない夜にしか遊べない秘密のパーティーでいっぱい遊ぼう。僕たちが賑やかにしてたらきっと鏡の国や不思議の国からたくさんの友達が遊びに来るよ。
What?
First of all, I don't really know why this is relevant, but second of all, that makes me think that it's definitely relevant and is messed up somehow. If they're showing us this, then it has to be relevant.
I think it's just talking about like imaginary friends and such. More people, like perhaps the rest of our stuffed animals are gonna come alive. In quotes, alive. Maybe.
She'll imbue them with a soul.
Yep. That's what I'm guessing. And then I started my pajama party with Suktaro and had fun late into the night. I played by sticking my hand to the bag of jelly beans without looking and trying to guess what color I'd pull out. Suktaro had good intuition and got a lot right. Partway through, I also achieved the brilliant feat of guessing right 4 times in a row. The game where I split peanuts open and tried to guess which half would be the grandpa was easier than guessing the color of the jelly bean, so I got it right a lot. Sucking my salt-covered fingers was bad manners, but that was the yummiest part. I like both orange juice and mellow soda on their own. I hoped that by mixing those 2 favorite drinks there might be a flash of light like alchemy, and a new drink that no one had ever tasted before would be created. I got excited about how if it turned out really delicious I'd call it Suktara soda and sell it. But unexpectedly, it had a weird and disappointing taste, and the color of it was somewhat dull and boring. Maybe I shouldn't have been surprised that orange and green mixed together would make this. Too bad. I imagined that it would become a sparkling pineapple color. But it was an awesome, awesome fun night. If I'm having this much fun, maybe Mama will start wanting to come home too and unexpectedly appear at the front door. So I got the feeling that Mama might suddenly come home, and went to the front door many times to check, but there was no way Mama would be coming back home when she was this busy with work. But rather than a feeling of loneliness, I felt it was just a little disappointing that I couldn't invite Mama to join in on such a fun late-night party. Next time, I'll do this when Mama is around and let her join in. Even some things that I don't think are yummy, Mama says are delicious. So she might say that Sakatara soda is really yummy. When Mama comes back tired, I'll serve her some. And more than anything, I want to at least write about this fun night in a letter and tell Mama about it, hoping that these strong feelings of happiness would reach Mama too. Hoping that when Mama comes home exhausted from her job, which is always so tough for her, I could share this happiness with her. Hoping that when Mama comes home late Sunday night, almost certainly tired, I could make her even just a little brighter by sharing this happiness. I softly placed that letter on Mama's desk. To Mama, good job with your work again today. Some of my happiness for you to share. From Maria. Then I decided to give a present to Sakatara for proposing this wonderful night. A small red scarf that I had found when searching for my treasure in my closet. When Maria was still very young, her mama had knitted this tiny red scarf for her. Maria was embroidered on it with a knitting wool. She softly wrapped that scarf around Sakataro. It really suited him, accenting his yellow with red very well. Sakataro looked embarrassed as he wore his first present ever. Yeah, it really suits him.
Do you see that?
The British
medal on the scarf? Yeah, it's a Union Jack.
Yep.
サクタロ、いつも本当にありがとう。こんなにも楽しい夜にな。どうしてマリアは泣いてたのか、もう思い出せないくらい。これからも一緒にいようね。そしていつも楽しく遊んで笑っていようね。うりゅう、マリア大好き。マリアもだよ。
Death flags were raised. Tomorrow, Sakataro gets hit by a car.
サクタロ大好き。
He gets isekai'd. Hit by Truck Sama.
After playing so wildly, my room was a mess. Maybe I played a little too much. But I'm tired for today, so let's sleep together now. And tomorrow, we'll clean up together and welcome Mama with a clean room. Okay, Sakataro? Or do you?
ね。マリアは、マリアとサクタロはこんなにも幸せだよ。
これがマリアお姉ちゃんの幸せなの？
うん。マリアは幸せ。
ローザおばさんはあんなにも楽しみにして絶対だよと約束した映画の約束を完全に忘れてた。
お仕事で忙しかったからたまたま忘れちゃったんだよ。仮に覚えてたとしてもお仕事じゃどうしようもない。覚えてても覚えてなくてもどちらにせよママはお仕事でお泊まり。映画には行けなかった。約束を覚えてたかどうかなんて些細な問題だよ。
There's no way that was insignificant. After all, when Aunt Rosa replied, the movie's on the phone. It was obvious that she had completely forgotten her promise. And when she had heard that, Maria Onechan's mood definitely darkened.
確かにマリアお姉ちゃんの言う通り、ローザおばさんが約束を覚えていたとしても結局映画には行けなかった。でもそれでもお母さんとのささやかな休日を過ごす約束を一方的に忘れられていたなんて私なら怒る。
悲しかったよ。たとえ覚えててくれたとしても映画には行けなかったわけだから。でも私はその後サクタロととても楽しく夜を。エンジェもパジャマパーティーがすっごく楽しそうだって思ったはず。
楽しいわけなんかない。だってこの夜のマリアお姉ちゃんのはしゃぎぶりはお母さんが帰ってこなくて寂しくてそれを忘れるためにわざと空騒ぎをしただけじゃない。
違うよ。サクタロと本当に楽しくパーティーをしたんだよ。
いいえ違う。お姉ちゃんは悲しくて 約束を忘れてたお母さんが憎くて部屋で暴れただけじゃない。
そんなこと、マリアの日記のどこに書いてあったの？
書いてはいない。でもこの一行飛ばしで書いてある行間からお姉ちゃんの気持ちがわかるの。お姉ちゃんはこの夜を楽しくなんか過ごさなかった。それで言いつけを破って夜更かしをし、おやつの時間以外には食べてはいけないと厳しく、それでも悲しみが埋められなくて部屋の中で暴れて散らかしただけじゃない。そして部屋中を散らかして疲れ切って、そのままベッドのシーツをかきむしりながら泣き疲れて眠っただけ。
日記には確かにママが映画の約束を忘れてたらしいこと、そして私が夜更かしをしてサクタロとパジャマパーティーをして宝探しで部屋を散らかしてしまったと書かれてるね。
ええ、それはつまりそういうことじゃない。マリアお姉ちゃんはローザおばさんの愛に飢えていた。そしてローザおばさんは自分の仕事や世間体ばかりを優先していつもお姉ちゃんを後回しにしていた。だから虫唾が走るのよ。ローザおばさんのお姉ちゃんのことを愛しているという言葉がどれほど上辺だけのものか知っているから。お姉ちゃんだって知ってるはずなのに、なんで自分は幸せだなんて言えるの？マリアお姉ちゃんのそのあたりが私にはわからない。この年になってもさっぱり理解できない。どうして悲しくないの？どうして不幸な現実を知りながら自分は幸せだなんて言えるの？私にはできない。わからない。
エンジは悲しい子だね。
わけわかんない。どうして私が哀れまれなければならないの？
私の日記にはこんなにも楽しくパジャマパーティーの事実が記されているのに、同じ事実も異なる人間が観測すると異なる姿になってしまうんだね。
I remember talking about this with Barncastel. Truth is indeterminate and changes its form every time it's observed. By the way it is perceived, in other words, depending on the person who perceives it, a single truth becomes different truths.
Which
and
fits
truths
very well with what we've been saying about this entire novel.
Yeah.
In terms of what they've been showing us, you know. It's
And
different
truths
perspectives or different interpretations.
and truths of the past are painted over by truths of the future.
マリアはこの日記でこの夜の出来事をとても楽しかったと記し、
マリアお姉ちゃんはこの夜の出来事をとても幸せだったと記述した。
なのに日記を読んだエンジェはこの夜の出来事をとても悲しかったと読んだ。
マリアお姉ちゃんは幸せだと記述したのに、私はそうではないと読み解いた。
やめて。これは幸せな夜を記したものなの。これがこの夜の真実。お願いだからその幸せな真実を新しい、そして異なった真実で塗りつぶさないで。
マリアお姉ちゃんにはこれで幸せなの？
うん、幸せだから。同じ境遇の時幸せに感じられないエンジェがかわいそう。
Now here's a thought.
Yeah.
An utterly depressing thought.
Mm-hmm.
All these game boards are the truths in the quotation, but what really happened was worse than anything that happened on any of the game boards.
I think it is, because what really happened was, you know, assuming that witches aren't real and magic isn't real, what really happened was humans doing that to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than a witch doing that to a human. It's kind of more, you know. I think that's the worst out of all of them.
Yep.
Because it's the most realistic.
Well, she back then and I now have the same friendless and lonely situation, and Angie accepted the lonely truth as the lonely truth, but she painted over the lonely truth with a happy truth. Ushiromi and Maria took the sad truth and changed it into happiness. That is the only and yet all too large difference between me and Mario Nate-san. At the same time as being unable to accept it, another part of me is jealous of that power.
そうなの。それは力なの。 その力があるマリアは幸せになれて、その力がないエンジは、
その力は何なの？
マリアもその力を何と呼ぶかわかる。この時点ではね。やがてその正体を教えてもらうの。
Magic?
後に話すよ。後のページで。
I guess.
そして日曜日の深夜、ママは約束通りお土産を持って帰ってきた。
ただいま。
ママ、おかえり。ウリュウ。ママ帰ってきた。ママ帰ってきた。
Waiting to greet Rosa as she returned home all tired out was Mario holding Suktaro in an unbelievably good mood. Rosa's worn-out expression was surely due at least in part to actual fatigue, but also partially because she was sick and tired of having Mario cling to her and loudly whine and sob after being left alone in the house for a few days. However, when she was welcomed by an unbelievably happy Mario, and discovered unbelievably that her fears had been unfounded, Rosa couldn't hide her surprise.
どうしたのマリア？とてもご機嫌ね。誰か来ているの？
It was strange enough to make Rosa think that a friend might have come over and that she had come back home in the middle of them having a good time playing together. But there were no other shoes by the entrance. Even though Mario was in such high spirits, she was home alone. At first, Rosa was suspicious that this unexpectedly good mood might have some kind of unwelcome underlying cause, but that really was a needless fear, and really did seem like that Mario had actually stayed home in a good mood. Even if Rosa's heart had been as cold and hard as a rock, after being welcomed with a smile like this, Rosa started to honestly accept that smile, and the smile rose to her own face automatically. In that smile, you could see none of that weariness caused by being unable to return home for several days. Maria kept talking about what fun time she had playing with that stuffed animal, Sakataro. Rosa really hadn't imagined that the stuffed animal she had gifted her would be liked so much, and she couldn't hide her pleasant surprise.
さあ、サク太郎と一緒に仲良くお留守番していたのね。偉いわマリア。そんな偉いマリアとサク太郎にお土産があるわよ。
ウリュウ。お土産、お土産。なんだろうね、なんだろうね。
Maria started jumping around with Sakataro. There were two presents. One was a Western cake assortment. It contained different kinds of Scotch cakes. It looked to be of very high quality, but Maria was more interested in the other one. The other one was an even bigger box and it was pretty heavy.
開けてごらん。マリアとサク太郎の新しいお友達になれるかもね。はあ、
何これ、何これ。
Inside, laid there like chess pieces, were about 20 small ceramic animal figures. Squirrels, rabbits, small birds, dogs, and cats. And they were all holding musical instruments. In addition to them, there were also panorama-style background.
Paranoia style.
A forest scene was drawn on it. Like little woodland animals were all gathered around a forest clearing, and they looked like they were having a good time.
They looked incredibly paranoid.
Rosa set it up on the table. I feel paranoid. And when she then lined up the ceramic figures like chess pieces in front of it, it became a band of forest animals.
素敵でしょ。お店のショーウィンドウで見て一目惚れしちゃったの。これをいい子でお留守番してたマリアにプレゼントするわ。
ありがとうママ。すごいねサク太郎。お友達がこんなに増えちゃったね。サク太郎の言う通りだった。楽しく賑やかに過ごしてたらお友達が増えちゃうって本当だね。言った通りでしょ。ほらね、お友達が増えた。ほらね、お友達が増えた。ウリュウ。
Relieved that her gift had been appreciated, Rosa suddenly remembered that she was filled with several days of weariness.
ママ、本当にお疲れ様。シャワー浴びてくるといいよ。あったかいの浴びるときっと疲れが取れるよ。湯船にする？マリアが今日は入浴剤を選んであげるね。
ありがとう。でももう遅いからマリアは寝る支度をなさい。ママも疲れたからシャワーだけ浴びてすぐ寝るわ。明日も早いし。
うん、わかった。はいママ、コート脱がしてあげる。
大丈夫だってば。ありがとう。
ママのコート お外の匂いがいっぱいする。あ、ごめん。何か落とした。拾うね。
When she had taken Rose's coat, her receipt or ticket stub or something had fallen out.
Oh,
It had
no.
been in her mom's what?
I hope this isn't anything bad.
It had been in her mom's pocket, so it was probably important. Mario hurriedly picked it up.
The music cuts out.
It looked like a ticket for a green car or the Shinkansen or something. A Tommy? Maybe it's that place famous for its hot springs? Just then, a razor-sharp sound shattered the warm atmosphere. Instead of the Rose who had been there just a second ago, enjoying a gift with her daughter and full of weariness after returning home for the first time in several days, there stood a completely different person who looked exactly the same but had the most terrible of expressions on her face. In her hand was the ticket stub that Maria had picked up. She had stolen it from Maria's hand in an instant. After a few seconds' delay, by the pain of her hand that had been hid in her mother's expression, Maria realized that she must have done something wrong. But she didn't know what she had done that had gotten her in trouble. It was probably because of that ticket stub-like thing. Was she not supposed to touch it? Even though she had tried so hard to welcome her mama with fun and happiness, she had touched something important to her without asking and ruined that pleasant atmosphere. So Maria apologized immediately.
It's not your fault, Maria.
ごめんなさい。
Even though she must have heard those words of apology, Rose's expression actually darkened. Maybe those words had been undesired? Maria didn't know what to do and cautiously watched to see how her mother would react. Then, even though it should have been such an important ticket stub, Rose had crushed it up and hurried off to her room. Maria didn't really understand what she had done wrong.
マリア、きっと余計なことをしたんだね。あの紙はきっとママのお仕事の大切なものだったんだね。それに勝手に触っちゃったから。
So she was off on some sort of hot springs trip.
She was just doing work in the hot springs.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Bringing her laptop into the...
マリアは悪くないよ。だから今夜だってこんなにも幸せ。幸せ。ママだってお風呂に入ってすっきりしたらいつもの優しいママに戻ってくれるよ。だから気にしちゃダメ。うりゃ。そうだね。ママだって疲れてるんだもんね。気にしちゃダメだね。今夜だってマリアたちはこんなにも幸せ。うりゃ。
もうやめてよ。見てられない。
エンジェは幸せの見つけ方が間違ってると思うよ。
間違ってるのはお姉ちゃんでしょ。これのどこが幸せだ。もう痛々しくて見てられない。
何が？ママが急に怒り出したこと？人間疲れていればそういうこともあるものだよ。一時の感情のすれ違いだけで相手を全否定するのってエンジは大人じゃないと思うよ。
9歳のマリアお姉ちゃんに言われるとはね。でもそんなことじゃないでしょ。もうお姉ちゃんが拾ったあの半券明らかにおかしいじゃない。
何が？何もおかしくないし今夜の幸せと何も関係ないよ。
ローザおばさんは仕事で会社に泊まり込むって電話してきたんでしょ。なんで熱海？それって旅行でしょ。マリアお姉ちゃんを置き去りにして旅行に行ってたってことでしょ。しかも普通旅行って言ったら一人では。
あれが仮に熱海行きの件だったとしても、だからってママが嘘をついて旅行に行った証拠にはならないよ。
電話で嘘をついてあんなにも形相変えて奪い取って何よりの証拠じゃない。
昔の仕事で出張した時のものかもしれないよ。あるいはゴミか何かをたまたまポケットに入れちゃっただけかも。部下の人が出張した時の領収書かもしれないね。だったら仕事の大切なもの、おもちゃじゃないんだからママが取り上げたのもうなずけるよ。エンジェの言う証拠なんて単なる状況証拠、想像と妄想。どうしてマリアとママの仲が悪くなるように解釈するのかわからないよ。
This isn't how Maria normally talks, right?
It might be.
Does Maria usually use phrases like circumstantial evidence and interpreting it so that my relationship, stuff like that?
Well, when she goes into witch mode,
But she's not in witch mode right now, right?
But she's in a
She's
mode
in
where
diary mode.
I guess she's in
Something like
diary
that.
mode because she's not actually existing. She's already dead.
Yeah.
どうしてお姉ちゃんがそこまでローザおばさんの都合がいいように解釈。
やっぱりエンジェはかわいそうな子。君を幸せにしてくれるかけらはこんなにもたくさん身の回りに落ちているのに、なのに不幸せなかけらばかり見つけてしまって傷つき続けている。だからエンジェは傷つくことに怯え、傷つけるものが身の回りにないかどうか、それを確かめ終わるまで幸せ探しすら始められない。
お姉ちゃんと話をしてるとおかしいのがどっちかわからなくなってくるわ。
あのね、幸せのかけらも不幸せのかけらもどちらもいっぱいあって世界を満たしてるの。だから身近の幸せが見つけられない人はどこまで探しに行っても見つけられない。チルチルとミチルが青い鳥を探したみたいに。
そうね、そういう教訓の話だった。
エンジェはその正反対。不幸せなかけらが全くない世界を探してる。でもそれだって青い鳥と同じなんだよ。だから永遠にエンジェは自分の幸せを見つけられない。バトラはヘンゼルなの？青い鳥なんじゃないの？
もういい加減にして。いずれにせよ幸せな夜がコートから落ちた一枚の紙切れで台無しになったことはよくわかったわ。
怖いね。一枚の紙切れで。なら幸せを取り戻す力も一枚の紙切れに宿れるかもしれないよね。
Just when she had finally been able to bond with Maria after so long, Rose's face twisted with a mixture of anger, sadness, and fierce self-hatred as she flew into her room and closed the door. Maria's sari had stuck into her chest more sharply than any knife. Then, she noticed a cute envelope placed on her study table. Oh no. It was probably something that had come with the girl's magazine. To Mama. Some of my happiness for you to share, it said. She took it, hesitated, opened it, and read what was inside. Then, after dotting the surface of the paper with 2 large tears, she flew out of the room, hugged Maria from behind as she headed for the bathroom, buried her face into her daughter's back, and cried. And realizing that she was the only one who should truly be saying sorry, she apologized to her. And when Maria asked why, she gave no answer.
ほら、もう仲直り。あんなのママとマリアの仲良しの前には全然気にすることないんだよ。
私にはマリアお姉ちゃんの幸せは。
エンジェの気持ちも一応は理解するよ。マリアだってこの力に気づくまでは今のエンジェと同じで不幸なかけらしか見つけられない気の毒な子だったから。
その力って何？私になくてお姉ちゃんにはある。そしてそれがないから私は不幸でお姉ちゃんは幸福だというの？力という抽象的な表現でしか理解できない。それは。
うん。エンジェはそれが知りたいんだよね。だから私の物語をここまで読み進めてきたんだもんね。もちろんだよ。教えこの力の秘密を。そして私は昔幼いエンジェにちゃんと教えてあげたんだよ。忘れちゃってる？大丈夫。思い出せるよ。今から私が、彼女が教えてあげる。
彼女って誰？
わらわがそれをマリアに代わって教えよう。
Of course.
ベアトリーチェ。
マリアにはあってそなたにはない力。
うん。マリアにあってエンジェにない力。
That is magic. Maria and Beato said it together. And then they started giggling because they'd said it at the same time. It was an innocent behavior, which seemed somehow unlike Beato. Black tea was arranged on a table in a peaceful garden, and Beato, Maria, and Sakataro were sitting on Maria's lap, were having fun chatting.
ほう、そうか。作太郎と申すか。そなたの一番の友人とな。
ウリュウ、はじめまして。作太郎と申します。
おう、作太郎は人見知りするから緊張してるの。大丈夫だよ。ベアトリーチェもマリアの素敵なお友達なんだよ。
ウリュウ、マリアの友達は僕も友達？うん。ウリュウ、じゃあ僕もベアトリーチェの友達？うん。ウリュウ。
マリアにとってはこのようなことは日常においてよくあることなのか。
お、何が？
このように無機物に魔法の魂を込め生を宿らせることはそなたの日常においては左半時なのか。
おお、作太郎は無機物じゃないよ。ライオンの子だよ。うりゅ
ぬいぐるみはよりしろとして優秀だ。故に毒を持たぬ無垢な子供が話しかけることによってそれに応えようとする精霊が宿ることが少なくない。
According to Beatrice, when a child plays with dolls, the dolls sometimes gain an actual will and converse with them, in rare cases even moving on their own. However, the power that they can imbue into such a vessel is very weak due to their innocence. Even if a tiny bit of the toxin from a human's common sense gets involved and tells them that there's no way a doll can talk or move, it instantly reverts to being an ordinary non-speaking doll.
しかし、そなたのその作太郎というぬいぐるみは違う。
作太郎はぬいぐるみだけどぬいぐるみじゃない。
ウリュウ、ライオンの子が、ウリュウ。
作太郎はライオンの子だけどまだ子供だから時々ガオーって言えないの。ウリュウ、ウリュウ、ウリュウ。
I always forget that Gao is like roar, basically.
Yeah.
ウリュウ、ウリュウ、ウリュウ。
Beatrice let out a sigh of admiration as she gazed at Maria playing around with Sakataro at the table loaded with tea.
なんということか。作太郎とやらはその布地と綿のよりしろをかく完全に人間界に権限している。自らの人格を持ち召喚者と自在に対話をし、しかも自らの意志で動いている。しかもさらに驚くべきはそれが異界の人物を名指しして呼び寄せたものではなく、マリアがゼロの海から生み出したもの。
After that, Maria boasted to Beato that Sakataro wasn't her only friend and that when she went home there would be plenty more of them. She claimed that there were other similar stuffed animals and dolls who, like Sakataro, could talk and move of their own will. It was something natural to Maria. It was natural for stuffed animals to talk, move, and become her friends of their own free will. When she heard Maria speak of this in that way, Beatrice as a witch felt a respect bordering on awe.
マリア、そなたのその力は紛れもなく魔法
なの？マリアはまだ魔女見習いだから魔法なんて使えないよ。
いいや、魔法だ。それを自覚して使えぬから未だ見習いなのであろうが、それにしても大した魔力。そなたの友人作太郎の権限こそが。
権限って？
うん。そなたの場合は想像と呼んでも良いであろうな。他人の手にあっては何の魂も持たぬ無機物がそなたの魔法によって魂を吹き込まれている。しかもそれを強力な力で人間界に留めている。これほどまでに魔法を否定する毒気に満たされた現代において一個の生命体足り得るほどに権限できる魔力はわらわとて容易なことではないわ。
It isn't hard to create soulless beings in any number. However, creating a being with a soul is very difficult. Beato declared this definitively.
ベアトが言うのがよくわかんない。作太郎がすごいってこと？
作太郎とそなたが共に素晴らしいということだ。誇ってよい。なるほど。金蔵の最も欲したものはそなたに一番濃く宿っているらしい。
なんでベアトにそんなに褒められるのかねえ、作太郎。うりゅ
真に驚嘆すべきはぬいぐるみに魂を宿したことだけではないのだ。それにより自己の世界観まで変化させた。そなたは無より有を生じる力が群を抜いている。1を100にすることはたやすい。しかし0から1を生じることはたやすくはない。そなたが一人前の魔女になったなら、わらわと双璧どころかわら原初の魔女、そなたの将来がわらわにとっても楽しみだ。
ベアトに魔女の才能あるって褒められた。よかったね、マリア。ウリュウ、ベアト、マリアを褒めてくれてありがとう。
礼には及ばぬぞ、作太郎。その赤いマフラーは実に似合っているぞ。そしてそなたのような友人を生み出せるそなたの主人の才能に嫉妬する。
ウリュウ、マフラー褒めてくれてありがとう。これマリアにプレゼントしてもらったの。僕のお気に入り。
まさにそなた専用のマフラーになるために生まれてきたようなサイズである。これはわらわも新しき友人に何かプレゼントを贈らねばなるまい。
ベアトが作太郎にプレゼントを。
魔女の贈り物は魔力あるものと決まったならば、そなたの友人がいつまでもそなたの友人でいられるよう、作太郎にわらわの魔力を贈ろう。それによりさらに強く権限することができるだろう。
作太郎ともっともっと楽しく遊べるようになるの。どうやって？ありゃ？なんだろう、マリア。それって怖いこと？大丈夫だよ。ベアトは怖いことなんて何もしないよ。ね、ベアトリーチェ。
必ず気に入ってもらえるはずだ。さて、より強く権限するにはより強いイメージが必要である。さてさて、どうした？
Beato folded her arms and thought about what she could do to please them the most. And at that moment there appeared in the form of yet another witch. It was Beato's master, Virgilia. Virgilia was truly a great witch. Since Maria had already thought of Beato as a great witch, this person Beato called a great witch must have been a great witch. According to Beato, not even she could hold a candle to this witch when it came to magical power.
おやおや、賑やかな声が聞こえてくると思ったら楽しそうなお茶会ですこと。おお、お師匠様、ちょうどいいところへ。このライオンの子を見てほしい。マリアの新しい友人だそうだ。可愛らしいライオンさんです。ご挨拶はできるのかしら。はじめまして。こんにちは。
Saktaro got back onto Maria's lap and greeted Virgilia with half of his face poking out over the edge of the table. He seemed to be very nervous since this was a witch that even Beato called master.
可愛らしい名前。上手な挨拶ができたご褒美にお菓子をあげましょうね。
After waving her hands about, Virgilia held the palm of her hands upwards and made a movement as though lightly grasping some of the air. Then she held out that closed fist in front of Sakataro. And when she opened it, there lay one of those individually wrapped cough drops. Even though Virgilia was a great witch, she still treated a stuffed animal like Sakataro to an elegant greeting.
しかしお師匠様、
のど飴とはまたババ臭
Yeah, I
い
was gonna say,
せ
that's
め
not
て
really
いち
candy.
ごミルクのキャンディーとか出ないのかよ。
これはひどい。もうあなたには飴をあげませんよ。
悪い悪い。さてマリア、そなたの魔導書を出すがよい。もちろん筆記用具もな。
うん、出すよ。何か書くの？
おや、何を始めるのですか？
お師匠様に習った魔法を使うのだ。よりしろに異界の住人を権限させる魔法。あれの応用でこのマリアの友人を権限させる力をより強めることができるのではないかと思って、それをマリアとマリアの友人への贈り物としたい。
なるほど。常に権限している存在ならそう難しいことではないです。それは素敵な贈り物になりそうですね。では私もささやかですが協力しましょう。
お師匠様が立ち会い人にサインしてくれる魔法なら心強い。喜べマリア、これは素晴らしい贈り物になるぞ。
うりゅう？何が始まるの？怖くない？怖くない？わかんない。でも怖くないと思う。なんだろうね。楽しみだね。
Beato borrowed the grimoire from Maria's handbag and majestically rifled through the pages. Then, finding an empty page among those with magic circles drawn on them, she flattened the book out. And after staring at Sakataro with a smirk, she suddenly started darting her pen across the page. It was something like a written proclamation made by witches to higher order world. Magic, which would take effect by Beatrice writing it and Vergili giving her signature as a witness. Maria didn't understand what Beato was doing at first, but partway through she figured out the wonderful magic power of this document and her eyes began to sparkle.
うりゅう？うりゅう？どうしたのマリア？何を書いているの？うりゅう？うりゅう？
Sakataro was on her lap, so he didn't know what was being written up on the table. But even if he had seen, Sakataro probably wouldn't have understood.
すごいよ、サクタロウ。待ってて、もうすぐだよ、もうすぐだよ。ベアトすごい、ベアトすごい。
力ある書面の筆記においてこの子の才能は素晴らしい。あなたになら魔界の書記官すら務まりそうですよ。
これでどうか。まずまずであろう。
After she had completed the thing that had been so intensely concentrating on, Beato looked over the document again from a distance. It seemed she was fairly satisfied with the work, and Maria, upon also peeking at it, let out a cry of wonder.
すごいよ、ベアト。かわいい。
黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェの名においてマリアの子サク太郎をここに認める。お師匠様、立ち会い人にサインを頼むぜ。
はいはい、我が名においてこの先生に立ち会い認めるものなりできましたよ。
I said earlier that this chapter I thought was going to be the love between a parent and child.
Oh, shit, you're right.
Yeah?
Interesting. Just not in the
And-
way that we thought about.
Well,
Or at
I
least
just
thought about.
I just realized that this could mean something similar to that.
Yeah. Definitely.
Vergilia signs, completing the proclamation. It was a powerful document that proclaimed to the beings of a higher world that Sakataro had most certainly manifested in the human world. Sakataro, created by Maria, had received the recommendation of the two witches Beatrice and Vergilia, and in this very moment the higher world had accepted its existence. That was the great magic of manifestation. According to Beato, it was apparently an incredible stroke of luck that Vergilia had been here, because the power residing in the proclamation would change drastically depending on the number and the ranks of the witches signing it. Vergilia in particular had many friends in the higher world, so her signature gave the proclamation a power with which Beato's couldn't even compare.
この宣言書により汝作太郎を自がある一個人と認める。そしてその存在をマリアージュ・ソルシエールの条約に従い友人として迎える。今より作太郎は我ら共通の友人だ。それにふさわしき姿を贈り物としてそなたに贈ろう。
受け取るがよい。
With the grimoire still open to the page with the proclamation, she turned it around and handed it to Maria. Maria showed it to Sakatara on her lap. When Sakatara beheld that proclamation, in his body made of cloth and cotton, he felt something hot and bright began to dwell. Even as he looked around, nervous at the sensation that he had never felt before, that power strengthened, and eventually a bright light completely swallowed him up.
What? Oh, what?
And when that light disappeared, there, Maria's friend Sakatara had a new form and existed.
Wow.
I think that sound we just heard means that... Oh, no, he's on the witch side.
On which side?
Yep. Under Maria. Huh. Beloved furniture, Lady Maria, witch of Mariage Sorcière. His existence is Lady Maria's pure white heart itself. He is an irreplaceable being to her and could even be said to be another Lady Maria. He holds a decoration as a diplomat, and all witches' weapons and furniture in the Alliance, and even demons and divine spirits in contract with the Alliance are not permitted to take aim at him.
Uryu, 本当に似合ってる？恥ずかしくない？
とても可愛らしい姿ですよ、作太郎ちゃん。マフラーがチャームポイントだと思ってな。あとは耳だ。獣耳はいいぞ。後でわらわにもかじらせよ。
ありがとう、ベアトリーチェ。素敵なプレゼントを本当にありがとう。
礼には及ばぬ。そなたの素晴らしき魔法と友人に敬意を表したまでよ。そしてこの域にまで達したそなたはもはや見習いをいつ卒業してもおかしくない。今日よりさらに新しく楽しい魔法を伝授してやろう。これより原初の魔女見習いのマリアと名乗るがよい。
原初の魔女って？
うん。造物種の道を求める魔女の称号よ。
I'm confused about the context of all of this.
I don't know if this is in her... I don't think this is in her diary, because Anji is here too.
Right, so...
No, this might be in her diary, you're right. This is probably in her diary.
I'm really lost, I'm sorry.
Anji's watching it. Like, she was watching the events in the diary, I think. Maybe.
I guess maybe they'll tell us. Or not.
今は身の回りの小物に魔力を吹き込む力しか持たぬエンチャンターでしかない。
And if they don't tell us, I'm sure people in the comments will clear it up, unless it's supposed to be ambiguous at this point, or for us to figure out, in which don't tell us.
Yeah, that might be the case.
1000年の修行を経たならば、その胸の内より魔法体系はおろか、銀河を生み出すことも夢ではあるまい。原初の魔女の才能はとても希少。幼き日には誰もが持つのに、誰も持ち続けることができない。この称号は、あなたが汚れなき心を失わなかったことの証でもありますね。
原初の魔女すごい。なる。マリア、原初の魔女見習い。
マリア、すごいね。原初の魔女、すごいすご
い。やがては一人前の原初の魔女マリア教を名乗ることになろう。作太郎だけでなく、そろそろそなたもその格にふさわしい身なりをしてもいい。それ、見習いとはいえ魔女の名を語るにふさわしき服装を与えよう。
When Beata waved that pipe, that was her wand. Many gold butterflies appeared out of nowhere, grouped around Maria, and granted her a wonderful dress. Well.
Wow.
Endowed with both cuteness and majesty, it was indeed a fitting article of clothing for the girl who would eventually take the name of the Witch of Origins.
すごいすごいすごいすごいすごいかわいいかわいいこのお洋服ママにも見せたいダメ
魔女の清掃はみだりに見せてはならぬぞ。もったいぶった方が価値が出るというもの。
And then the Great Witch, the Witch's apprentice, and their new friend Sakatara had a lively time enjoying their tea together.
ね、私はこんなにも幸せだよ。そしてこんなにも楽しい。幸せになることをどうか恐れないで。
Yep, it's all in her diary.
Yeah.
幸せになるというのは今の不幸を受け入れるという意味じゃないの。今の不幸の中に幸せを新しく生み出すということ
I
な
was
の。
also gonna say this is all BS.
Oh, it's all BS.
None of this actually happened.
そ
Or
れ
is
が
happening.
原初の魔法。
私は今の自分の世界を認めたくなかった。こんなにも孤独で辛い世界を肯定するのが許せなかった。だからマリアお姉ちゃんの世界に惹かれながらも最後の一戦で受け入れられなかった。
教えてあげる。マリアの原初の魔法を。いいえ、教えたことがあったはず。そしてあなたにも使えたはずなんだよ。忘れちゃった？エンジェだってマリアージュ・ソルシエールに名を連ねる魔女の
ええ、そうだったわね。マリアージュ・ソルシエール、懐かしいわね。私もそこに名を連ねていることがあったっけ。
So she was once a witch?
But how long ago was that?
I don't know, but I guess Anji was once a witch.
If witches exist.
Well, thank you for watching our daily dose of depression.
Well, that had a happy ending, kind of.
Kinda.
A little bit. But it was all fake and BS, so it doesn't even matter.
It was all fake and BS, so it doesn't even matter?
Yes, sir.
That's what you're going with? None of it was real?
It's my story and I'm sticking to it.
There are no things as witches?
Yes.
No such thing?
Yes. You've flipped me. This VN has flipped me. There's gotta be...
Chigayo. That's wrong. Zen Davida. No.
It's no damn good at all.
There's gotta be a human, right?
What?
There's gotta be a culprit, right?
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be a human in some way. It has to be a physical.
Well,
I don't know. I don't know anything anymore, man.
At the end of episode 4, it's gonna be our job to try to at least figure somewhat out.
Yeah.
Who done it and
Piece things together.
Piece things together, yeah. Well, with that being said, thank you for watching. Next time on Umineko, we'll be back 12 years in the future.
Peace.
Auf Wiedersehen.